Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today, I'm going to be transforming this russet potato into cheese. Valley Hearns from TikTok is the inspiration for today's video, and I had the great pleasure of going to the Rhode Island Historical Society where I met Phoebe and Connor, and they showed me a great selection of books that included a vintage historical recipe for potato cheese. So this concept of taking potato and converting it into cheese is not a new one. The historical recipe, let me know down in the comments if you want me to tackle that, actually is more related to cheese in the fact that just simply takes a potato and adds sour milk to it, kneads it into a cheese, and then you ferment it and let it age for a couple of weeks, and apparently you can keep it for a very, very long time. And I imagine that one would taste more like cheese because it actually contains milk. The version I'm going to be making today is a plant-based, no milk or dairy in this whatsoever. Basically, we're taking the potato starch and adding more starch to it, some flavoring to make a puck that is cheese looking. It's supposed to be grateable and meltable as well, but does it taste good? I don't imagine that this is going to taste like cheese at all. Like many of these look-alike recipes that I've attempted a lot of recipes that take something else and transform it into something else, but it doesn't taste like it. And that's fine. Maybe that's not what you're looking for. Perhaps you're looking for just that experience of a kind of chewy chicken-like feel, or something that is cheese-like and is meltable, which this is supposedly going to do. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're gonna need is a large russet potato. When I say large, it's about the size of my hand, if not bigger. I've already cooked this. I boiled this for quite a long time whole until when I poked it with a toothpick all the way in the center, it went in easily and it's nice and tender. So next we're gonna need a blender. So I've got my blender here and we are first going to peel our potato. So peel our potato, move the peel. And my potato is just slightly warm, a bit above room temperature. The problem I have with really short format recipes is that there's not a lot of information. For example, in the TikTok video, it doesn't tell you the temperature at which the potato should be at. In other recipes, I read that it should be cool or at room temperature. So that's what this is at. So I'm gonna cut this up and put it into my blender. Next, we're going to add some seasonings. So in that vein, the TikTok video does not include complete amounts for the ingredients. Now, sometimes I do this myself in my own videos, but that's because I am using someone else's recipe and I'm replicating it, testing it to see whether or not it tastes good or whether it does what it says it's going to do. And in that case, I put a link in the description box to the original author and the original recipe, so you too can make it yourself. I want the original creator to get credit for the recipe. That's my logic. But in this case, no credit is given and the amounts are not complete. So I'm gonna kind of be whiffing some of these amounts. It says salt and pepper. And for this amount, I'm gonna go with a half teaspoon of salt and pepper. I'm gonna go with white pepper since I don't want black flecks of pepper in my cheese. I'm gonna go with a quarter teaspoon. Oh, it's always so itchy. Okay, now, same thing with the spices. It says garlic powder. I'm gonna put a quarter teaspoon. Onion powder, no amount given. So I'll go with a quarter teaspoon too. So I really like nutritional yeast. It has a kind of cheesy-like quality. I was introduced to it when I was a vegan as a young person, and I'm gonna add some to this recipe. I'm gonna add 2 teaspoons. So that's good for you as well. Oh geez. Next I have smoked paprika. This is for flavor and color, quarter teaspoon. That's gonna give it a bit of an orange color when I mix it with the turmeric, and it's gonna give it some smoky flavor as well. So turmeric also for color and yumminess, quarter teaspoon. It does have a flavor, not too pronounced. Next we're gonna add some pickle juice, acidity and dilly flavor. Recipe says 4 tablespoons, so here we go. Next, we're gonna add a slurry. That's 2 tablespoons of starch mixed with 2 tablespoons of a plant-based milk. So we're gonna mix it in the milk to dissolve it, and that is called a slurry. Oh, I still smell that white pepper in the air. I wanna sneeze. Mix that well and pour it in. That's gonna help thicken everything. Okay, so I do believe that's all of our ingredients. Now we're just gonna blend this up until it makes a homogeneous paste. Here we go. Make sure it's on low. Ooh, nice orange color, huh? Wow, this is forming it into like a dough. Now potatoes get really elasticy, look at that, when you whip them. So maybe this will work. I don't know, it smells like pickles, it smells like dill. All right, keep going. It's very thick. All right, now we're going to cook this. Actually, let me taste it first. Huh. Doesn't taste half bad, just tastes a bit like pickle juice. I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon more salt. Actually, make that a 1/2 teaspoon. I think it needs more salt. Not too bad. All right, turn the heat back on. We're gonna cook this over medium heat for 5 to 8 minutes so that it'll cook up the starch and get it nice and thick. And look, it's pretty cheesy in color, right? All right, maybe this recipe's gonna be better. Oh, I was supposed to add 2 tablespoons of oil too. This is 1 big scooper. This is a tablespoon measure, 2 tablespoon measure. So don't forget that, we need some fat. So here's another thing. It says cook this for 5 to 8 minutes, but it doesn't say until what kind of consistency. It just says 5 to 8 minutes. It did show a bubble, like went bloop. So once it starts to do that, I don't know, I'm gonna set my timer for 5 minutes. I'm going to place my cheese in this 6-inch cake pan. In the video, it doesn't say how to prepare the pan at all. I'm gonna line it with some plastic wrap so that I can get the cheese out easily. Again, no instructions. In my experience of unmolding things, unmolding is not oftentimes easy or smooth. So I'm gonna use a little bit of plastic wrap. So we're gonna make sure that we have enough so that it overhangs, so we can use that to pull up the cheese out. This may mar the outside of the cheese. It might not look as smooth, but I'm willing to give that up for an unmolded cheese. Okay, this is getting thick. Now we're gonna take this hot mixture and pour it into our prepared pan. Super thick, nice. Smear this around, kind of level it out. Now pull the plastic wrap a bit so I can remove as much of the wrinkling as possible. And then I'm gonna allow this to cool, and then I'm gonna place it in the refrigerator and allow it to chill for a few hours so it's nice and solid. So then we can cut it and grate it and give it a taste as cheese. Alrighty, I'll see you in a little bit. Alrighty, my lovelies, it has been a full 24 hours since I made the potato cheese. It said to let it sit overnight in the refrigerator. Other recipes I found said just chill it until it firms up. But here we are 24 hours later to taste the cheese. And look at the puck of potato cheese. It has indeed firmed up. I think the diameter of this could have been a little bit smaller so that the cheese looks a little bit taller as shown in the video. That cheese looked about this thick, but this is a 6-inch pan, so maybe a 4-inch diameter pan would have been better to get us that tall cheese look, but here we are. First time trying this. So let's give it a cut and see how it tastes. Oh, I also want to experiment in grating it as well, because the recipe says it grates and it melts. So we'll be testing that as well. So because it's wrapped in plastic wrap, this came out very, very easily. And here it is. It did take on the impression of the plastic wrap. So I imagine the surface would be a little bit smoother had I not wrapped it in plastic wrap. And it has the kind of markings of the plastic wrap as well. But it was very easy to unmold. Let's cut a nice little wedge out of it. It slices just fine. It feels a little bit rubbery. Boop. And there's the cheese. It looks like a Pac-Man. Just need some ghost for it to chomp up. Okay, so here's the cheese. I've got some crackers. So let's just try it as cheese and crackers. Here is a slice of it. And, from appearances, it does look like a slice of cheddar. A little bit more rubbery, kind of bouncy. It smells like pickle juice. I smell the pickle juice. Alrighty, there it is. Alrighty, potato cheese and a cracker. Here we go. It's itadakimasu. Wow. It doesn't taste like cheese. It tastes savory, umami, a little bit pickly, juicy, but it tastes pretty good. Let me try it straight up. Texture is definitely different. This has kind of got a more mealier texture, kind of crumbles, a little bit pasty. It's not as waxy and firm as regular cheese. Granted, this is made out of potato, so it's got a slightly mashed potato texture with a little bit of a bounce to it. Kind of hold it all together. That must be from the cornstarch. Having said that, I'm really surprised by the flavor. The flavor is actually pretty good for what it is. This is potato with some seasonings, and it's pretty good. Doesn't taste like cheese. Cheese has a really great aged milk flavor, a little bit funky, well, depending on the type of cheese. I'm thinking of a cheddar cheese, so it's got that aged dairy flavor, a little bit of nuttiness, definitely some salt, and it has a kind of waxy mouthfeel. The mouthfeel is completely different of this, but for what it is, it's not bad. Actually a lot tastier than I expected. And I'm gonna even go this far. Better than a lot of vegan cheeses I've tasted, or plant-based cheeses, whatever you want to call them. Most of them just taste kind of like a rubbery, salted block of starch. Next, let's take our wedge of cheese and see how well it grates. Hey, not bad. Look at that. I got shaves. The color is a little bit different because I used a combination of turmeric, paprika, and nutritional yeast. If you didn't want it this yellow, you could just certainly pull back on the turmeric. But I didn't have recipe amounts. So I have to say, without recipe amounts, I have to say that's pretty stinking good. Alrighty, let's see if it's meltable. I'm gonna put some on, I'm gonna do a couple experiments. So I put some shredded cheese on a cracker, and let's try microwaving it and see what happens. Just for like 10 seconds. Let's also try flambeing it. Not flambeing it, but burning it. Whoa. That was 15 seconds, and indeed it kind of melts. It's definitely hot. It sort of just collapses more than melts. Let's try it like this. Wow, warmed up, the pickle juice flavor is really enhanced. You can taste it. It's very, very strong. Almost overpowering in my opinion, but it does kind of settle. It doesn't melt, and it definitely doesn't have the pull of any cheese pull whatsoever, but not bad. I prefer it cooled. Next, let's try torching it to simulate kind of a broiled effect. If you were to put this on pizza, would it, get that nice crusty, bubbly caramelization? Let's see. So we're gonna take some more, oh geez, drop a cracker, take some cheese. Now we're gonna try bruleeing it. Okay, so I'm just using this torch to kind of simulate some kind of browning. Oh, it is kind of burning. So it's more burning than melting or caramelizing at all. Let's taste it. It just tastes pretty much like it did when I microwaved it. I don't know if it's in my mind, but I taste like a slightly butane flavor. I don't know if that's imagined or real, but that's what I taste. It doesn't behave entirely like cheese, but this isn't cheese. This is potato with some starch and some flavoring. And for that, It's not bad. If you were to use this to make a sandwich, I think that would be pretty tasty. This with a bunch of other crunchy vegetables, maybe some hummus, or even on top of a taco or something like that, shredded, I think it's actually pretty good. But yeah, this was actually better than I expected. It does not taste like cheese. It is cheese-like, and it is a cheese kind of substitute, but I find often when it comes to eating vegan, plant-based, just avoiding dairy and meats, I find that I'm more satisfied when I just have something delicious rather than having something that's supposed to be a facsimile of something else. You're ultimately, I feel, going to be disappointed. I understand you're jonesing for maybe a crispy chicken-like sandwich, and that's great. You can make something like that, but you can eat wonderful, wonderful, good, great food that doesn't have to be something else. It's just delicious food, a delicious stir fry, a delicious bowl, a delicious meal without it having to try to be something else. Because ultimately, if you're trying to make cheese, it will never be cheese because it can't be. But having said that, as a cheese alternative, this one is not half bad. Alrighty, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. I love hearing from you. Let me know in the comments if there are any other suggestions, recipes, things you'd like me to taste or try. And I will see you in the next video. Toodaloo. Take care. Bye. Now I think is an opportune time to work in my garden, I think. Alrighty. See you, bye. Why? What? Where did that come from?